Beware of Dogs. A Manifesto on the Ills of Dog Ownership. By Anonymous. Abstract. Dogs are seemingly worshipped by society, with few true benefits outside of perceived value and entertainment, coupled with severe detrimental impacts to society. This describes in detail the flaws of the persistent growth of dog ownership, especially in urban environments. 1. Introduction. On a sunny day along the Linville Gorge, in North Carolina, I was on a backpacking excursion with a few friends when I happened upon a black canine of medium build, approaching quickly, with a middle-aged woman another 25 feet behind. I began to make room for them to pass, until I noticed that the dog's attention was squarely focused on me. The woman yelled out,
"Don't worry, he's friendly."
When it reached me, the dog was baring its teeth in a wide stance and growling. My immediate reaction was to jump behind one of my friends in self-preservation. When the owner caught up a moment later, her passive response was,
"Sorry, he doesn't like people with black hats."
This woman displayed an essential trope of dog ownership, attempting to apologize for the dog's behavior, so far as to be blind to the shortcomings of themselves as the owner in controlling or preventing such behaviors in the first place. Blame is often left upon the victim for not being friendly enough, not letting the dog sniff the victim, or in this case, not having the right attire. A more apt response by this woman may have been,
"I am sorry, I don't have my dog on a leash."
Or, more accurately,
"I am sorry that I did a poor job at raising this dog."
Or even more so,
"I am sorry that I am prone to herd consumer behaviors, and that I substitute my inability to make and maintain human relationships with a manufactured animal that I similarly cannot maintain."
This manifesto does not seek to downplay all pets. Dogs are unique. This animal is a pure side effect of man's existence, and exhibits near diplomatic immunity in public to terrorize, defecate, urinate, aggregate allergies, create smells, disperse fur, hump, slobber, and produce yapping sound pollution at every hour of the day. These side effects are marginalized by the owner as they themselves become desensitized to how it affects those around them. They then become unable to comprehend the issues with having them around while guests are over, bringing them into other people's cars or houses, leaving them within earshot of neighbors, or bringing them into public restaurants and airplanes. A dog uniquely benefits solely its owner, to the detriment of others around it. The following elaborates upon the flaws and misconceptions of dog ownership in more detail. 2. Dogs are not man's best friend. While there are few assertions about a mouse loving its owner and vice versa, there is a furiously defended belief that dogs love their owners. There is no proof that this is the case. The most thorough research in this area assessed the brains of dogs in an fMRI machine and found that dogs perceive a coming reward when they smell their owner, but this study, and all others like it, are unable to determine if it is an expected food reward or a social reward. The concept that a dog will die for its owner is flawed as well, in that there is wide skepticism, even within the dog training and veterinary community, that dogs understand the concept of death, and are therefore unable to comprehend the idea of risking its own life. An animal that is bound by the food it is given, the leash that it is on, the cage that it is in, and a defecation schedule is so far removed from a friend, that the use of the term is tantamount to newspeak. The animal is unlikely to survive without its owner should it be granted free will, and therefore human dependency is its only means. The dog owner seeks to assert this dominant relationship in public, rather than in the privacy of their own home. At face value, it is more akin to ownership for human self-gratification than it is to companionship or friendship. 3. Owning a dog does not bring one closer to nature. Dogs are man-made and nothing less, a distant relative, by 15,000 years, to a species of wolf long since extinct, that remains as a modern-day eugenics experiment. The dominant theory is that dogs evolved and thrived purely on the overindulgence and wastefulness of man through parasitic consumption of food scraps left behind by humans, partially evidenced by their evolved ability to eat a diet that is not purely meat. They are not naturally occurring independent of man, in any way, essentially making the term designer dog moot, as technically every single one is. Humans have further bred over 300 species of dogs to look, behave, and perform how we want them to, and then judge them according to the look of each specific breed in a way that could be described as no less than xenophobic. All dogs have breed-specific health conditions and disabilities that are byproducts of this custom breeding. Due to body disproportions, bulldogs are near incapable of natural births and require C-sections approximately 80% of the time, and approximately half of them experience severe breathing problems. 80% of corgis and dachshunds will have intervertebral disc disease because they have been bred to have backs that their bodies cannot support. Retrievers and Great Danes' stomachs can twist to block the esophagus due to the shape of their body, leading to cardiovascular collapse and immediate death. Spaniels are prone to rage syndrome, a form of epilepsy where they attack anything at random, in an unprovoked way. It is not uncommon for pugs to have their eyes dislodged from their sockets because their skulls cannot contain them. Dogs do not naturally evolve to defend against predators or diseases. This is all in the objective, ignorant of the costs, to make something, quote, cuter. Thus, as per the primary definition natural being, not made or caused by humankind, dogs are categorically not natural. 4. Corporate pressure to purchase. The pet industry in the United States stands at over $100 billion in annual revenue, and the global market is estimated at over $200 billion as of 2020. Exponential growth has been cited since due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Dogs make up the majority of this in volume, revenue, and net profit as they are the largest, most common, and most expensive house pet to own, with a typical cost around $15,000 over the course of their lifetime. This is inclusive of pet food, pet toys, and veterinary care, all in a corporatocracy that is controlled by primarily just two companies, Mars and Nestle. The pet products from these companies have higher profit margins and in Mars' case bring in more overall revenue than their human consumables. This is in large part due to animal products remaining less regulated than human products, permitting more manufacturing shortcuts to be taken without legal risk. These shortcuts permit longer shelf life of food and cheaper ingredients that negatively impact the animals. One example of this is how normalized it is to feed dogs processed corn, wheat, and soy-based foods despite being classified as facultative carnivores, animals who are carnivores but are capable of consuming other types of foods, if they have to. These starch-centric diets that are now the norm for dogs have been shown to correlate with diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and neurodegeneration. Given that a substantial percentage of veterinary hospitals are owned by Mars and Nestle, there is a conflict of interest whereby these food manufacturers benefit from normalizing poor food diets as well as resulting veterinary bills. The methods by which these companies manage to further perpetuate dog ownership manifest themselves in multiple ways. No brand label required. Every person walking a dog in public is a walking advertisement. Every single dog movie that comes out is sponsored directly or indirectly by either Mars, Nestle, or other pet corporations, e.g. Scooby-Doo, Marley and Me, Clifford, My Dog Skip. The more normalized dog ownership appears through these mediums, the more people choose to acquire dogs and the more money is made by these corporations. As such, normalization of dog culture is influenced and perpetuated by only a few businesses, of which dog owners are the pawns. 5. Peer pressure to purchase. Beyond the corporate push factor, there is a furthered social peer pressure factor. Anyone who owns a dog will encourage others around them to also get one as a form of justification of their own mistake, compounded with disgust for those who disapprove. Inaccurate justifications for doing so include the following: I am happier and healthier owning a dog. Health benefits of dog ownership, and more broadly pet ownership in general, are severely overstated, often with non-clinical standards. Cherry-picked studies touting mental or physical health benefits are widely popular and act as a source of positive reinforcement for current or prospective owners. They are further celebrated and distributed by organizations with clear financial incentives to promote ownership while disregarding studies that confirm the opposite. Owner versus non-owner happiness was shown to have no correlation according to a 3,000-person Pew Research study. This is also true of loneliness, lifespan, cardiovascular health, and depression. This also neglects any inherent cognitive dissonance bias via researchers owning dogs themselves, which is not required to be included as a disclosure as it is not financial in nature. It also neglects the health impacts on others, such as the 4.5 million individuals that will be bitten by a dog each year, and the 20% of those individuals that will be infected by those bites. I enjoy walking my dog. 80.7% of the U.S. population lives in urban areas according to the census. It is estimated that 35% of people in urban areas are dog owners, and that 55% of people in non-urban areas are dog owners. This puts roughly 70% of all dogs in the United States in urban environments. Next time you walk past someone on a street with a dog, observe their face. Are they smiling? Are they giggling and interacting with the dog in a playful manner? Unless accompanied by another person, this is rarely the case. When encountering strangers, conversation is rigidly constrained to such repetitive small talk as, what is its name? Is it a boy or a girl? What breed is it? How old is it? Or, is it a rescue? Dogs specifically require more time in this fashion than any other pet. Approximately 215 minutes per week over the average lifespan of a dog conservatively stacks up to 2,100 hours of time, the equivalent of 1 year of full-time employment. Imagine accepting a job that you are extremely passionate about, but the pay is zero, and it lasts for a full year. Include picking up feces from the ground as a part of the activity, often in freezing temperatures, without having the freedom to choose what time of day to do so. I love having a companion to travel with. Continuing the job analogy, consider a person who would like to take a vacation from their zero-pay dog ownership job. If they take the dog with them, they can forget about traveling internationally. Domestic travel is just as difficult as most lodging options will not accommodate a pet for many of the reasons in this paper. Traveling without the dog will cost $500 per week for a dog sitter. Travel comes in as the number 2 reason that pet owners regret acquiring a dog, immediately behind cleaning up after the dog. 6. Dogs deeply damage the planet. The Environmental Protection Agency estimates that the typical dog generates 0.75 pounds of waste per day, across the 89.7 million dogs estimated in 2017 in the United States, that equates to over 33,000 tons of feces per day. Per year, that is well over 10 million tons, enough waste to cover 109 football fields 10 feet deep, including the end zones. According to polls, 69% of owners claim to collect their dog's feces. Those bags contribute a surprising 0.6% of plastic waste generation worldwide. Those that make the argument that their bags are biodegradable are likely unaware that, as opposed to manure, dog feces is not considered a fertilizer due to its harshly acidic nature. They are probably also not aware that landfills slow down decomposition time from what is normally 1 year to thousands of years due to what is often referred to as the mummification of trash, leaving it not exposed to matter that helps it degrade. B. Water contamination. For the remaining 31% of owners that do not collect their dog's feces, the impacts are even worse. The EPA classifies dog waste in the same category as oil spills and acid drainage from mines. Research from local community water quality tests suggests that somewhere between 15% to 26% of bacteria in waterways comes from dog feces. Dog feces include substantial amounts of roundworms, fecal coliforms, fecal strep bacteria, and E. coli. Strains found in dog feces are known to be more resistant than similar strains not found in dogs. Dog waste also contains nitrogen and phosphorus, which deplete oxygen and damage fish as well as encourage the growth of harmful algae. C. Meat consumption. Traditionally, meat fed to dogs were leftover ground-up remnants of animals not fit for human consumption. The new high-end pet food market recently has caused a pent-up demand for human consumable meat to be fed to dogs, on top of the extraneous volumes of dry pet food currently distributed. According to one estimate, owning a medium-sized dog has a similar carbon footprint to a large SUV. According to another peer-reviewed estimate, 25% of animal protein raised in the United States currently goes to pets, primarily dogs, and leaves a net carbon footprint of approximately 64 million tons of carbon dioxide per year. This is similar to the combined carbon footprint of the entire country of Greece, 67 metric tons, just due to dogs occupying the United States. The upward trend of dog ownership and this incredibly large carbon footprint calls into question the sustainability of justifying them. 7. How you can help. Amidst all of these issues, people do regret acquiring dogs. A Forbes poll of 2,000 dog owners found that 54% of them regretted it. If that is the majority of people, why continue to fool ourselves into this perpetuated scam with few true measurable benefits, that frequently causes more harm and conflict than good? Instead, just as humans drive the extinction of some animals, we are artificially propping the population of this artificial animal that meets the exacting definitions of both a parasite and a pest. As a takeaway from this work, consider the following. 1. Do not get a dog. 2. If you are a policymaker, restrict urban dog ownership. Coming down on this social virus reduces neighbor infighting, improves water quality, and creates more sustainable communities. Given the startling extent of the carbon footprint of dogs, a carbon tax should be considered as well. 3. Express your feelings about dogs. Being upfront with dog owners who put down people not tolerating obnoxious dog behaviors educates owners about their choices, improves society, and betters the environment. 4. Share this manifesto. If someone you know or love is weighing the decision to acquire a dog, consider sharing this document to help them better understand what owning a dog means. 5. If you still demand to acquire a dog, despite reviewing this work with all the logistical, characteristic, and environmental implications, and have thoroughly interviewed all your peers, friends, neighbors to validate it will not bother them, perform the following: reside in a rural location. This bothers fewer people, is better for the dog, minimizes maintenance, and does less to popularize dog ownership rather than purchasing, adopt. This will help curb population growth, castrate the dog at the earliest possible chance. This eliminates reproduction opportunity but also reduces probability of dog-to-human attacks. When collecting feces, flush the feces down a toilet, without the bag, rather than placing it in the trash or leaving it on the ground. Do not ever bring the dog to any public location other than a park.